about MCW in this kind of new scenario you've got going? Does his role change at all? I mean, he's coming off, he's still being productive off the bench, but does he have to adjust a little bit as far as his role with Giannis handling the ball now?
No, I don't think, with the first group, Giannis handles the ball. And I think for Michael and Giannis, I think you have two playmakers out on the floor. But we tend to go with Michael being the one.
When they're together.
When they're together. So for Michael, the adjustment, I don't know if it really changes. He comes off as aggressive, sets the table for his teammates defensively, and then offensively, he's got to look to score the ball for us, give us some scoring off the bench.
Now, then when he's in there with Giannis, that gives Giannis a different look, right?
Yeah, these, we don't just have, a one or two. We have basketball players, so Giannis can play 1 through 5. Michael can play the 1 and 2, and they're both unselfish, so we feel very comfortable either one on the ball.
When they're on the floor together, you like that? It's a combination too.
Yeah, I think when you look at Michael coming off the bench, he's played just as much, as many minutes as a starter, him and Moose. So it doesn't matter if you start or come off the bench, you're going to play a lot of minutes and touch the ball. So for Michael, it's just, being able to understand what the team needs at that time when he's on the floor.
Is that hard for a young player, a high-profile player, for him to adjust to a different role?
It's hard for any young player, who's learning the game, starting and then being asked to come off the bench, young or old. You have to find your rhythm, your routine changes, and so different guys, you're playing with different guys until the 6-minute mark in the fourth quarter. It's like the starting group is, out on the floor. So it can be hard, but also I think it can only make you better.
What does he need to do or improve upon to get where you think he needs to be?
For Michael, I think, again, we all have to work on our jump shot. That's. But
you don't anymore.
Well, you still can. You can still always improve your jump shot, especially if you're going to bet. But I think you look at just being the floor general, understanding time and score, understanding who's going, understanding basketball IQ can always grow and it can always get better. So for Michael, I think, not just him, but our young team can all, benefit from that.
You win 7 out of 8. What's been the common ingredient? I mean, how's it changed?
Time. With a young group, it takes time. As much as we want to, pop this thing in the microwave and speed up the process, just can't happen in sports. And so for this young group, they're starting to play and look at our injuries. We never complain about them, but we're missing quite a few guys that will be coming off the bench for us. So hopefully we can get healthy and make a run with this.
Did the length of time it's taken surprise you at all? You said it takes time for guys to come together. How long it's sort of taken to?
No, I think if you look back at the history of the game, it could be ahead of schedule. There's always teams that have been put together that are young that have failed. Most have all failed because we all come in last place if we don't win the gold trophy. So there's never been a young team that's won a championship. So I think the process for what we're doing is right. I think we're ahead of schedule. You look at the 2 young kids. One is just coming off a triple-double. We've asked to change his role into being a playmaker, and he's done it in stride. And then Jabari, I think after the All-Star game in Toronto, playing with those guys, let everybody know that he can still, be the guy, a franchise player in this league. And you can see his confidence is at an all-time high too.
Were the external expectations then maybe a little too high? Because I think a lot of people saw Greg Monroe, you need a center, you got one, top 14.
Yeah, I think everybody has their opinion until you play on the floor. And were those expectations right or wrong? I think it's a great lesson learned for our young kids to be in that situation because they're going to be in it again. They're probably a little bit older, and how do they handle it? Understanding we kind of got away from what we were doing last year, and I was playing defense. And that's when you look at us winning right now, we're playing on that side of the ball first.
Coach, what about Bayless, Henson? I know I always ask, but is there, you say you would want to get healthy, that'll change the rotation to any closer on those guys?
No, those guys are out. We'll see when we get back. Yeah, they're most likely 3 weeks. So we'll see. Hopefully we can get one of those guys back for practice.
Henson in particular, I guess you didn't think you were going to lose him like a dozen games.
We never think we're going to lose anybody for a dozen games.
Right.
Maybe 1 or 2. But he's been missed in a big way, defensively and offensively. And hopefully we can get him back soon.
Plumlee, I mean, he's been invaluable, right, coming in there and really stepping in and giving you something instead of not having that other center option he's giving you.
Yeah, I think this is the beauty of basketball. When you talk about a team, he had to sit behind $90 million, and he was patient. He didn't complain to you guys, but he might complain internally. But he waited his turn, and he's taking full advantage of it, and we all are happy that he's playing at the level that he's playing at.
Well, what I noticed about him, like you say, he sat behind all those dollars. But you remember the good game he had in Oakland. And I remember I said to him, hey, it was a great game. He says, well, I can play like that. I mean, he's confident, and that's what you want, right?
Yeah, I think he's a true example for, being patient, waiting your turn. It's hard to, when you have all that money that's sitting in front of and talent too. And so he was patient enough, and he's taking full advantage of some of the injuries.
But the contracts do play a role. I mean, that's the reality, isn't it?
I can't play 3 centers. I mean, 3 point guards, yes, but not 3 centers.
Jason, you've been around guys that are coaching lifers, Lawrence, Rick, even Woody in New York. Now that you've done this job for a few years now, do you consider yourself cut out of that cloth? Do you think something different?
Coach, I'm still a young coach. I'm not a lifer yet. I mean, I think I'm still learning. Yeah, this is a very hard job. It's not easy. Even if you win, you're not guaranteed anything. And if you lose, you're not guaranteed to be around. So the best thing you can do is, do what you believe in. It's right for the team, and hopefully at the end of the day, you have helped, 1 or 2 guys, reach that bar that they've set, and that's all. Right now, being a young coach, I'm trying to learn how to coach. I didn't come through the coaching ranks. I've been around a lot of great coaches, talking to those guys, and just understanding, talking to Stotts in Portland, having a young team, how the expectations. As a player, yes, I was on a young team. We failed in Dallas with 3 J's, but as a player, you're thinking totally different than a coach. So that's something that you have to learn. It just doesn't happen overnight.
What did Terry tell you?
To have fun.
Terry and Rick, well, they've both been good influences on you, right?
Yeah, Rick has been great. He's the professor. I mean, he's the dean, and so he's always there if I have a question. But talking to Terry, he has a young team, and he is probably he's done a heck of a job with those guys there, and so having been with him in Portland and just his demeanor, understand when he said have fun, he means have fun.
What's Joe Johnson going to bring to a contender, given your relationship with him, getting to know him?
Joe's a true competitor. I wish him the best, wherever he ends up. He's not afraid of having the ball late, so they get a closer. And so wherever he ends up, they got a chance to win.